So we are here to talk about how to be successful at sports betting and make money at it. Betting on sports is becoming more accessible every single year in America. And along with that comes a greater temptation to get involved with the world of gambling. It doesn't matter if it's just a penny. Betting on sports makes a game much more entertaining. The more wagered, the more you feel like you have some skin in the game and that you're part of the team. You suffer when the team loses, and you can really feel their joy when the team wins. So without making any completely unwise or reckless decisions, how do you find the bets that are most likely to give you a return? Some sports books have thousands of options when it comes to upcoming games. When you look at all those options, it can easily become overwhelming. Let's cover the best ways to pick the wagers that are right for you. First, let's look at how to handicap. This is the process that sportsbooks use to decide where they want to set the lines for an upcoming game. In these modern times, most of the casinos use computer models to set the lines for them, but it wasn't that long ago that people like you and me were analyzing the stats and setting up the lines without computers' help. It sounds like it could be a complicated process, but it can be easily simplified. Handicapping is essentially using stats and trends to predict the likeliness of an outcome in the future. The first question that you have to answer for yourself is, what is the average outcome of this event? It doesn't matter what line you're trying to set. Total passing or rushing yards in football, could be total points for a team in the NBA, or it could be minutes played for a player in soccer. Sports stats are very accessible these days and are becoming even more and more detailed every season. Once you have an average of what the normal has been for the last few games, then you have a baseline of where you want the line to be set at. Next, you need to ask yourself, are there any special circumstances that would affect this average line? There are all sorts of factors that will affect the majority of the lines that are in the sportsbook. Wind and weather can have a huge influence on it. Is it a night game? Is it a day game? Are some of the key players injured or sick? Is this a home game or an away game? Are the players tired from a difficult schedule that they've been having on the road? How big the effect of these factors is can be calculated, but usually it varies. Experience will help you decide how much your line needs to be changed depending on the circumstances. Now that you have your line set, congrats, you're a handicapper. It's not so difficult. Now, it's important not to look at the lines that are coming out of Vegas before you do this process for yourself. The reason for that is that Vegas has completely different goals when they set their lines, and if you see them first, it could greatly influence your thinking when you create your lines. Now you get to compare notes. You need to match the lines that you've created with the lines on the sportsbook. As you get more experience, the majority of your lines will begin to match up with what is listed on the sportsbook screen there. Now you might go several games or even days without seeing a good opportunity, but eventually you're going to find a line that is significantly different than the one that you've prepared. That's when you know you're on the trail of a good bet. There are few things better than finding your first big mismatched line. As we alluded to earlier, Vegas doesn't create lines based off what they think the outcome is going to be. Their job is to create lines that are going to be equally desirable to all bettors. That sounds like the same thing, but there are many times when those two goals don't coincide. Here's an example. Let's say that two equally matched teams are playing each other. They're the exact same team. However, one of those teams is much less popular. That less popular team just got upset in their last game because a lot of their key players were sick. Not only that, but the team's star just got busted for hosting dogfights in his basement and is now facing a lot of really negative press. These factors are more than enough for the average bettor to not bet on that team, even though they have an equal chance of winning. Sportsbooks account for these factors and weight the lines so that they have an even amount of bettors placing bets on both sides. That way they are ensured to make a profit either way. And that's our window for getting a good deal on a line that the stats are telling us is going to go a certain way. Now that you've found the bet that you want to make, you need to decide how much money you want to put on it. Bankroll management is an essential part of sports betting. You can have the best bets in the book handed to you on a silver platter, and you can still mess it up if you don't manage your funds correctly. The most difficult part of bankroll management is discipline. There are aggressive and conservative strategies, and they can all work, but not if you don't stick to it. Sports betting can lead you into a minefield of logical thinking fallacies. One of the most common is the gambler's fallacy. Gambler's fallacy states that if a coin is flipped 100 times in a row and it lands on heads every time, that it is going to continue to land on heads if you keep flipping it. There are no guarantees in life, and sports betting is no exception. The coin still has a 50-50 chance of hitting tails, and you are going to lose your bankroll if you bet more or less based on feelings. Once you pick a betting system, stick to it. Now, a conservative betting system would be to bet 2% of your bankroll on each of your bets. This would ensure that if you have the unfortunate losing streak of 10 losses in a row, you've only lost less than 20% of your bankroll, and you should still have plenty to keep playing with. An extremely aggressive strategy would be betting 10% of your bankroll on each bet. Every time a bet is completed, there will be a new total. Recalculate what your next bet amount will be, and keep moving forward. I hope this has been a helpful and a good introduction for you into the world of sports betting. If you have any questions or want to learn more, be sure to check out the channel and our website, knowtheodds.net. Don't forget to subscribe, and good luck out there.